All righty then, Shelter FootyCast live from BackChat Studios. I reckon Skeet reckons he's back on a Jetstar flight this morning because not sponsored the pod yet, Skeeter, so we can talk about this. I'm a little bit late. My eldest son's birthday. He got up late. I'm late. Skeeter needs to leave. He's a bit antsy. Had a great day at the footy yesterday, didn't you, Skeeter? It was a good day.
Had a great day. It's a fantastic day. It was a long day.
Do you love footy? Do you love footy?
I'm just about over it at the point. How long we got to go? 3 months left.
Yeah, we're good.
No.
At least you have fun here.
That's also in dispute as well.
It's good to be with you. Getting through all the footy. Skeeter will get his energy up. Don't worry about that. Shelter FootyCast on socials. FootyCast at backchatstudios.com.au. That's how you get in touch with us. How many games of footy did you work over the weekend? Are you working too hard?
Not according to my wife.
Are you working too hard?
No, I don't think I am.
Sometimes you're doing 5 games a weekend.
No, this weekend I just did a Thursday game, Saturday, Sunday. So it was only 3. It was only 3. Sometimes when there's a waffle, it's 4, but obviously the waffle.
You're working too hard?
I don't know. I'm just getting older, I think. I'm just slower and I'm just can't be bothered. I've actually hit a brick wall. Do you ever hit brick walls?
Yeah.
Grumpy?
Am I ever grumpy?
I'm just
Am I ever grumpy? So my middle name, Skeeter. No, I just think it is actually interesting. I was speaking to a fair few people in media, in the media box at the game. I reckon there's a little bit of a vibe. I wonder if fans feel the same way around footy.
Footy fatigue?
It's just sort of, we're not close enough to finals to be getting really excited. It's like the middle part of like an NBA season where you see like the games, the game yesterday, West Coast Carlton, it was okay. It felt like the game shut down at quarter time.
Yeah, it was done. And Carlton completely just went into preservation mode, or they just didn't want to kill the game off with a big score. Yeah, look, I think you're right. And look, there's probably the next 4 or 5 weeks where there's not too many blockbuster games. I think we've got to go, I think it's round 18 or round 17 where there's a lot of the top 8, 9 sides are playing each other, but there's not too many of those coming up. So, yeah, maybe it's a bit of that. And the middle of winter or the winter sort of setting in, I think this is pretty much normal when we look back. But, yeah.
You know what makes things better? Having beers. So if you actually feel like me and Skeeter, we are going to award the Lager prize, the over $800 in down Southwest prize for Is the Footy Better with a Lager. We're going to award that a little bit later on in the show, Skeeter. So maybe if you're feeling like Skeeter and I, go and crack a beer. Just go and crack one, have it. I know you cracked a couple on Friday.
On Friday, yeah. While you were working, I was watching the cricket. We were absolutely shizing. And
just so you know, like you're sitting there as an audience, you're listening along to me and Skeet, and you join us on a Monday and Thursday, and we absolutely love you do it. Skeeter complains about getting abused on this show, and you complain to get abused at home, but I'm driving home, minding my own fucking business on a Friday. I've worked for 14 hours, and I'm just copying abuse from you.
No. I think you said to me, because I've organised through Trinity, my school, to do a lunch with you again and a guest. And I think you complained about the fact you had to come and sit at lunch at Steve's with me. I said, mate, I used a couple of expletives. I said, it's not exactly taking you to the Kokoda track to ask you to walk 5 days in the jungle. You just sit there and just have a beer with me, have a shelter and have a steak.
Sorry.
It's not that hard.
Sorry about that.
And so I got a bit grumpy. Australia's not playing well, and I said, listen. Anyway, I was having a bit of fun by myself up in the media room.
In the media room, okay. The media room, come on. It's not up to stadium. It's not the Dennis Kennedy Centre polishing your logie.
It's my media room, yeah.
Okay, all right. So anyway, who am I? I'm going to bring someone to that lunch, do I? I'm going to go. So something you've sold,
yep,
right?
I didn't make any money out of it.
I know, but you're not paying any money either. You're not. It's not your shout at lunch, is it?
No, of course not.
No. So you've done what?
I auctioned it off.
Yes, sweet F.O. And I'm meant to bring someone to this lunch.
Well, you just come along, and if it's only you, then it's you. I mean,
I'll be there.
I think we can do that in summer or October onwards.
So can anyone here buy that, or it's already sold?
It's already sold.
I wonder if that would go for any money on the Shelter FootyCast.
That's a good question.
Dinner and lunch with Schoey and Skeet.
Yeah, and by the way, the money does.
Proper one.
Yeah, the money does go to. No, it goes to families that's struggling to come up with the good financials for school. So it's not like a,
Yeah, but if we did it on, I reckon if we did it on this show, it'd be going to your pocket.
Well, there's a fair chance of that. And the greatest thing is, while your tipping's going no good, your pocket is being emptied as we speak.
I haven't seen my tipping. I'll have to check that as we go.
No, it would have been. You would have done okay this weekend.
You still on top?
I was still on top. I got one wrong at the weekend, which I think a lot of people did. And we'll talk about Brisbane shortly.
Okay, let's get into a couple of news breaking stories. Ryan Daniels is reporting that Collingwood are confident that Ben King will be a Pie in 2027. What?
He's also,
have you seen that?
Yeah, he's also talking about Matt Rowell, and then I heard Brad Hardy saying Rowell's going to be at the Dogs next year, which is no surprise. It's a bit of speculation. And can I be honest, I think there's probably a lot of journos, including Rhino probably as well, who said Cozzy Pickett is coming home.
Yes.
Chad Warner is coming. And everything looked like it. Chad Warner is coming home. Neither of them happened.
So they're more... It feels like there's more posturing by management groups, knowing that the news cycle is how it is right now.
Yeah, and they use the media.
You just put a little...
They use the media, absolutely. And the media cops a lot of flack for some of the stuff that gets put out, but I can guarantee you 90% of it comes from the managers.
In trade news, Tom Morris reporting Tom De Koning has told Carlton he wants to stay, but he won't sign until the financial gap is smaller. So right now... $12 million is on the table. So this makes me sick talking about these numbers. $12 million at the Saints for how many, 10 years.
Well, he's got 9 siblings he's got to try and take care of as well, poor old Tommy. He has. He's got 10 in the family. They must be Catholics.
Or $7 million at Carlton. What does that need to get to? Like what's it close enough? Like we're not talking about $7 and 12 mil and 7 mil. Is 10 mil close enough?
Oh, I think
a mil a year?
Meet halfway, I think, because you don't want to go to St Kilda.
That seems unders by Carlton. Is it 10 years? I don't have it in front of me. I think it must be a 10-year deal. 700. It can't be 10 years.
And just on the pure face value of he looks generally fit. He's a great athlete. So unlike we'll talk about a couple other players that are in that same sort of talk as well. But look, I think he's worth a lot of money. Bear in mind, I'm always reluctant to go all chips in with a ruckman, and he's a ruckman, but he's a pretty special one, I think. So there's that question. Is he if you had the choice of him or Luke Jackson as a player, who are you taking?
Well, that's a coin flip, I reckon. It's probably similar discussion to Shea Bolton, Cozzy Pickett, really. Like, they're both elite players. So I would take Luke Jackson because I think he's played better for longer. He's probably older. That's probably why.
Yeah.
But
I think
these sorts of things, like I took Shea Bolton over Cozzy.
You did want to ask you that, yeah.
I think he's done the same.
I think De Koning's a better ruckman. Per se, but I think around the ground, I think Jackson might have. But yeah, it's a hypothetical. It's just an argument. But De Koning, but let him sit and have a look. I suppose when you say St Kilda, are they the only option outside of Carlton or not? There has to be someone else out there, at least exploring.
Well, I reckon West Coast would take him on board if he wanted to come to West Coast.
Not for that sort of dollars.
No, why not? Who are they paying?
You're paying.
They won't pay anyone.
See, they're talking about Darcy Cameron for the Eagles. I'm not. They need midfielders. They need a lot of stuff, obviously, but I'm not going hard on ruckman.
We'll come back on West Coast. I've got some positive thoughts on them after the weekend, which is rare for me to wake up on a Monday with. Jamara Ugle-Hagan has returned to training with the Bulldogs. So I went pretty hard for. I'm not usually very critical of players, am I? But I guess I went hard with Jamara effectively bailing out on his teammates. Like that's probably in terms of the black book of footy for me. I think that comes first, looking after your teammates. If you just walk out on them, well.
And I don't think there was again, we don't know the inner workings of the Jamara Ugle-Hagan story, but if there was a family issue or something that we think was that people are suggesting would have been worthy, but all the talk was about what his off-field lifestyle was like. So that to me,
So he's back now, is he?
Well, apparently he's back. Obviously, he has to regain the trust of his teammates. He's not playing in the next couple of weeks, but I'd imagine he'll train for a few weeks or a couple of weeks, play some VFL, and they're playing good footy. So without him, they can survive, I would have thought, for the time being.
It's just important to, like, you spend like 10 months building for a season. Like, you get two throw, and they get 7 months off now. But whatever time they get off, and then you're just together and you're building for a premiership. You don't get to just rock back up and you get trust back from teammates because there's a fair bit of work done.
It's like anything, mate. It's like a workplace. If you've gone away, done the hard yards, I've been here or whatever for 5 months, you come back and just want to pick up the slack. And there's just that, you're right, you lose a little bit of that that glue of the club. Just well, not saying you don't lose it, but there's certainly question marks will be asked.
You can get it back.
Of course you can. Yeah.
I've seen guys
and they're
get
resilient.
it back.
Clubs are resilient.
But he would have to do, like, he'd have
Over and above.
Yeah. And that's training. Like, he'd have to do all the stuff that everyone else is doing, but he'd have to go and I feel like it's a bit of a sit down with the playing group. I feel like it, you'd have to show, that you've learnt and you want to buy in.
Is he that sort of, I just wonder whether he's that sort of guy that's prepared to go over and above.
Well, we don't know. We don't know. You and I definitely don't.
No, but we can look at what we've seen this year. And it's a long way back.
That's the trust element that they'll be fighting for. A couple of other items here, but probably the biggest one out of the weekend from an injury point of view, and I think here in the West is Oscar Allen and his injury. Just given that there's been so much talk around contracts, around what he wants to do, what West Coast want to do, and this, whatever that injury is.
Can you tell me what a plantaris is?
Oh, is that what it was?
That's what Andrew McQualter seriously said. And I was in the 6PR box last night having a look to try and work out.
I think
it's Achilles. It's Achilles related.
The foot.
So near the Achilles, I'm told.
So plantar fasciitis is the base of your foot where the tendon connects into the heel, and you basically fray that away, and it's big enough, and it's like a violin string, like little strings come off, and then the whole thing snaps.
Yeah, which is, we've heard the Robert Harvey story, and been ad nauseum how he managed to. But they're saying plantaris. Now, they're also saying that the injury is not as severe as they were fearing initially.
Well, so the plantaris muscle, I'm just looking at a.
This is like two actual rocket scientists.
Is long, thin muscle extending behind the knee.
And
into the calf. Of the posterior leg.
I was close. But it said near the Achilles tendon on the Google we did last night.
Look,
I've never heard of plantaris, to be honest.
Oh, mate, there's pictures of skeletons here and there's muscles all around everywhere. I don't know what's going on. Look at all this shit. Who knows?
Oh, mate, look at they're like my little knees, little skinny little legs.
So, look, I immediately thought Achilles. Like, I actually saw it happen and I was like, that's an Achilles.
He was running by himself, was he?
It was turning and running fat side, yeah. There was players around, but nothing happened to him. Like, it just happened by himself.
Which is, and he probably thinks, the old story, I've been kicked in the calf by someone.
So, if it's just a calf.
No, I'm saying, but when you do your Achilles, they say, it feels someone's you've been shot in the calf or kicked in the calf, and you go, what's that? And it's,
I guess the story, though, is, there was sort of, there's been mumblings around him, wanting to go to Brisbane, and should West Coast be playing him if he gets injured? If this is a serious injury, then this was worst case scenario, wasn't it?
Worst case scenario for Oscar and for the Eagles.
For everyone.
Eagles, yeah, totally.
For everyone.
So, okay. Well,
Oscar's the number one important person here, by the way. And then, the player.
Oh, no, but the health of him is important. But in terms of what the club's trying to achieve, it's at the moment, there's two different arguments here. I ask you the question, if it's a 2 or 3 week, it's something not serious, does the club want to play him for the rest of the year? Do they want to? Bailey Smith last year, for instance. Do you want to try and put someone away because either for next year for you or next year, end of this year for trade value?
It will be the discussion that definitely happens, Skater. What would you do?
I'm still, if he's fit to play and I'm Andrew McQualter, I want my best players out there playing.
Yeah.
If you're Andrew McQualter, that's probably different to maybe another part of the footy.
John Parker.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think of the footy. Anyway.
Is it Gavin Bell? No.
Oh, well, he's GM of footy, but
so anyway,
this manager.
If you're Andrew McQualter, you me,
yes.
Of course you want him to play. You want to try and win a couple of games. Matt Clark, of course, from Richmond. You want to win some footy games. So I'm saying yes, if he's available to play and he's fit, yes.
I'm with you, actually, Skater, which is surprising. Will Schofield, Mark Redding, Shelter Brewing Co., the beer that we can't get enough of. Okay, let's get into some of the games, Skater. Hey, I found my tips. How many did you get?
I missed one, which was the Giants. Didn't land them.
So 6 from 7?
I think so. Well, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I missed my Thursday night tip because I was...
You tipped St Kilda?
No, I got the Bulldogs because they were away team.
Oh, that pisses me off.
I got 6 from 7 and I didn't pick Thursday.
How does that happen? Why did so you get the away team?
Oh, well, you have to get, we do. Yeah, that's what happens. Gee, that makes me happy for a Monday. Fremantle, that's $10 back in the pocket, Skater. Fremantle, 73 defeat. North Melbourne, 67 in what was at least a tight game in this one. Dockers were up 28 points late in the third quarter. North fought back, covered this one with Fox Footy, and I proudly called at three-quarter time that I reckon North could win this game, and I didn't say that speculatively. They were in front in inside 50s. They were in front in total possession and field position, so they had more in their front half. They were turning the footy over. It was 28 turnovers to 12 forward half turnovers in North Melbourne's favour. They just weren't scoring on the other way. So Fremantle actually did well to be up by as much as they did, and North Melbourne couldn't take their chances. They were always going to make a run back, and Freo probably lucky to hang on in the end.
Yeah, a bit stiff, a couple of decisions as well. The Bailey Banfield almost holding the ball on the goal line with Nick Larkey. I thought there were a couple of moments, but that happens in footy. Yeah, I thought North Melbourne were very good in the last quarter, a bit like they were against the Eagles. And the Dockers, look, there's going to be some criticism of the fact they didn't put them away. But I think North Melbourne played some decent footy, and I thought that to get away with the victory there is one of those types of wins that, won't create big headlines, but at the end of the season, they'll look back and go, geez, we had to earn that one, didn't we? Because it was 66 points apiece with about 5 to go, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that
was a level.
And you would have, just on the eye test, North Melbourne probably had the better, well, they definitely had the better of the momentum if there was any momentum going one way.
So if we say all that, but Freo still win, I still think this is the lessons learnt while winning. It's
a lot better.
Yeah, I spoke to a lot of people after this game, and Freo fans or media or people at the club, and they were a bit, oh geez, thank God we won that. It's like, well, you won, and regardless of what happened in the game, with 5 minutes to go, the score's level, and you have to go and win that game. So it doesn't really matter what happened in the game, and it won't matter to them next week either. Like it's so quickly gone and out the door that probably, the lessons they learnt late, what Josh Tracy did, that moment, moments. I distinctly remember talking about Freo and what they were getting wrong at the start of this year when they were losing those games was moments. Blokes not standing up in big moments, and Josh Tracy takes that mark. Luke Jackson kicks that late big goal. They're moments. Luke Jackson doesn't do that. He kicks a point and they might lose. Josh Tracy drops that mark.
There's a chance.
No, mate. There was 3 North Melbourne players goal side of their opponent. That's a goal to North Melbourne.
Well, yeah.
So we don't know what happens, but that's proper big boy footy, Josh Tracy.
Yeah, and they didn't do that at the end of last year, did they? They lost games like that. And this year, at least on 2 occasions, against the Gold Coast and North Melbourne, and forget the opposition. They were challenged and they were under duress. And like I say, Caleb Sarong, Andy Brayshaw, if they get injured, they're going to be in trouble. But those 2 guys continue to be important to them. And you're right, it was just those last 5 minutes where, and I thought the Darcy-Jackson combination started to show a bit more, because Darcy, although didn't, Cherry and him had a good tussle. I thought it was important that the 2 of them went at Cherry as opposed to just Jackson, because I thought Darcy was better suited to that sort of bump and grind stuff.
They tag-teamed him. I loved it. I was watching that really closely, and they were just flipping on him over and over, and Cherry looked tired, which he would be. It's 2 against 1.
Yeah.
So, he's probably that premier ruckman in the comp, him and Max Gawn. I loved it, and Jackson looked pretty dangerous in front of goal. He kicks the winning goal. So, a couple of bit of feedback on Instagram from Arlo. Thank fuck it was North. Anyone else we lose, but Chris probably in more my basket. 4 points is 4 points. And Rob, who I think was involved in the Oz kick at halftime, said Will Schofield's son was best on ground. I don't know if that was true, but I'll tell you what, Skate, I felt like Mark Redding's running out there at halftime. I knew Nash was out there playing halftime footy. Got told he was at the East End, wasn't there, was at the West End. But looking across the ground, there was 200 kids that looked exactly the same. I couldn't see anything. It took me a good long time to find Nash.
Before then, did you become the ugly parent and start sort of coaching and giving a...
You
just said best on ground. Nash was best on ground.
That's from Robert on Instagram, mate. I was just reading Instagram comments.
Okay.
Yes. So
He must be a friend of yours, otherwise he wouldn't know who Nash is.
Okay.
If you couldn't see him. Well, that's true. If you couldn't recognise your own child, how's your Instagram mate going to do it?
Carlton 86 defeat West Coast 52. Was that what the score was in the end?
It's a shizing game.
Optus Stadium, you know what happened. I saw that Carlton's first quarter score beat their second, third and fourth scores for the second week running.
Yeah, and I was calling the game for 7. I looked down at just before quarter time and went, this must be close to their biggest quarter time score for the year. And it was. I think they beat the North Melbourne game on Good Friday when they just pumped North. Remember that? And they
Yes.
gave them so at that point, you knew that the game was basically done at quarter time, let's be honest. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Did you happen to see Andrew McWalter at quarter time?
No.
So Kath Lachlan had to do a cross with him. So Kath and I are on the boundary for Fox. This is a good little insight. So halfway through the first quarter, they're getting smoked. And in our run sheet, Kath has a walk-off with Andrew McWalter after the huddle. So she starts going, what do I ask him? Like, I really don't want to talk to him here. This is when you want to go, can we just maybe drop the walk-off with the coach? Anyway, you don't do that though. And we went over there. I did a cross by myself and then flipped over and they basically just moved the camera and Kath was ready with Andrew McWalter and she went, Andrew, how do you surmise the first quarter? And he goes, pathetic in the contest, 3 words. And Kath was like, did you say anything else to them? Maybe getting them up and about. He was steaming at quarter time. Well, it was true. I spoke to him after the game and he was sort of a bit apologetic. And I said, mate, he just said, he said, what would the players have said? They would have said the same thing, right?
Yeah, and also, you know what the temperature gauge is on the supporters as well, because I think he's been really measured. But at quarter time, in the first 10 minutes, you knew that they were going to get beaten. It was just a question of whether they could hold the line after quarter time, which they did, to be fair. They fought the fight. I don't think Carlton really wanted to, and their second halves this year haven't been great, Carlton, but a bigger concern for the Blues. They're not playing finals, I don't think, but this win keeps them in touch to some degree.
Yes.
Curno's calf, an issue. Harry Mackay might need surgery on his knee, so that's not good. That's a concern.
Silvani was injured late.
He came back on though, which is good.
Yeah, but I don't know if he was going too well. O'Keefe
and Sam Walsh obviously is out longer term. So yeah, the Blues got a decent run coming up, but I just think they're coming too far back from the rest of the top 8.
Can I give you some positivity for West Coast that I spoke about?
Yes.
I woke up with. Can I just go through the list? I'm just going to look at the stats on the weekend. I'm just going to tell you what players that I like and I think that can be good players for
long-term.
Decent long-term. And I'll say, if I don't say a player, it doesn't mean they can't. It's just like players, like on the positive side of things, like who I really liked the look of. Just watching them. Can they be AFL players? I don't reckon I could have done this, what I'm about to do, start of this year or even 3 or 4 weeks into this year, especially not last year. Ready? Dewar, yes. Tom McCarthy, like first player this year to have 30 touches. Gunn, yes. Jack Graham, we know he already does that. Harley Reid, yes, 28 touches, his best game of the year. Elijah Hewitt, absolutely, yes. Duggan, we know he is already. Bailey Williams, I like Bailey Williams. I don't think his effort and consistency has dropped off. He's been in and out of the side. I like him as a forward and as a chop out in the ruck. Jack Williams, yes, I've always liked him. Ruben Jimby, yes, he played very well again. Ryan Marrick, yes, great kick. Liam Baker, already a star. Matt Flynn, I think he can be a ruckman for West Coast. They just need to keep playing him, yes. Bo Allen, yes, by looking at him. The way he plays and how hard he is, he reminds me of a young Brady Hoff, who's not on this list, who is a yes. Jack Hutchinson, yes, he tackles like an AFL player. Liam Ryan already is. Jamie Cripps already is. Tyler Brockman, yes. Clay Hall, we don't know enough about. Sandy Brock, yes. I like the look of him. I actually do. Oscar Allen, already a player. Tim Kelly, already a player. Jaden Hunt, already a player. Harry Edwards, yes.
Jeez, it sounds like a pretty good side. They've won 1 game.
I didn't say that they're going to be a premiership side, Skeeter, but at the start of this year, I would have done that list and I would have had half of them as no. I think that's a positive for West Coast fans, Skeeter, and it sounds like you've got on the wrong side of the bet.
No, I just see you've made that team list look like they're.
You've taken it the wrong way.
No, they're going to be AFL. They're going to be AFL players. These young guys. I understand that.
No, but mate, doesn't sound like you do because a bunch of these guys were no's at the start of this year.
Who do you think win those at the start of the year?
Don't do that.
No.
I know. I'm not gonna.
No, but there were question marks.
I'm not going to do that.
There are question marks.
No, because they're young players, mate. They're young players. We're not going to clip this up on socials and have going yes and no.
But I was interested that you've got so many guys you think are...
Well, okay, question marks. Okay, I'll give you a question mark. I didn't know enough about Marek. It was like maybe not. We've seen enough from him. Hutchinson, same thing. Ruben Jimby, was he going to be able to play as a key defender?
We think we knew he was going to be a player.
Yes, but we saw him as a midfielder for 3 years, mate. Like he was, or 2 years. He's not a midfielder. Jack Williams, we didn't know if he was going to develop. Bailey Williams, question marks on him. Like there's a lot of guys, like Tom McCarthy, never seen him before. Dewar, mate, we didn't know anything about Dewar at the start of this year. Tyler Brockman, question marks on consistency. Brock, don't know anything about him. There's lots of question marks, and I've seen enough this year to say that all of those players can play regular games of AFL footy, no worries. I'm not saying that side challenges for a flag, but that's how you build a list of players, by getting a big bunch of guys that are AFL players. There was too many last year and the year before that weren't AFL players.
I'm not prepared to go as hard as you on that because I want to see a consistency of performance. I'm not saying they have to be superstars, but just from that group moving forward. Because I still think there's a lot of question marks over whether they can produce consistency of performance, but it is still early in their careers. But yeah, there's something to work with.
So who do you hate you hate a few of those?
I think it's positive that you're giving it a glass half full, but by the same time, I just don't think we've seen enough. Jack Williams, I love, but he's still a big work. We knew he was an AFL player last year. I saw him and thought, no, he's going to be a player.
I don't know. I've seen enough. I've seen more this year than I did last year.
Yeah, no, I had great faith in him. Whether he's going to take that next step to be a really consistent player and become a Josh Tracy type or someone of that ilk, I don't know. But yeah, there's a bit of work to be done for a lot of those players you talked about, and you mentioned some of the guys that are at the back end of their careers, and whether Jamie Cripps and Liam Duggan, how much more footy they've got to.
But it's not up to them.
No,
we already know they.
Well, we know they're AFL players, but that's not your future really.
But that's what West Coast's issue was. They didn't have enough players that could literally play the game. That's why they've been in the doldrums. I think Andrew McWalter would look at that list and be like, I can really work with this now. Whereas I wouldn't have said the same thing at the start of this year. And in fact, I said exactly that. So I think it's more coming from me, who's been quite negative on West Coast. I'm happy to own that too, but I'm being positive today, so good for me. Okay, Skeeter. Is the footy better with shelter? We need to get this through this because Skeeter's got an important cashy to do. Work. Sorry.
I do have to actually work.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
It sounds like you're excited about it. Is the footy better with shelter? Ask this week, is the footy better with the lager? 1 carton of shelter, burger and beer at Path 3 in Busselton, dinner and beer at Shelter Brewing, which we did on the weekend, Skeeter. 2 bars of Otto's chocolate, 1 bottle of Crodaro wine, all to enjoy at the Hilton in Busselton. A couple of new entries, Skeeter. This is from Brendan. I have no issue with the beer. It makes my mouth feel beautiful things. What I can tell you is that it did not make my footy watching experience better. I'll tell you why. West Coast are so shit, it doesn't matter how many shelters I have. Nothing will make that better. Fuck me, from Brendan.
Brendan probably summed up the feelings of all of us at Bunbury last week. And this is from Buggerlugs here, who's given ticks to about 23 players on the list just then.
Emily, listen to you. Emily said, Emily, great to have you, by the way. This is
what you don't think we got only blokes who listen.
Yes, that's exactly what I think, Skeeter. You've got one on YouTube that is your biggest fan, and Emily. Shelter Lager is the hubby and a summer sour for me. Sorry, okay, I understand. Emily's taken. She has a husband. Shelter Lager for the hubby and a summer sour. Do they make footy better? Well, that depends. If we're talking about footy at home, the answer is a resounding no. The more beers my husband downs, the more colourful his vocabulary gets, the louder he becomes, the more emotionally invested he is, and suddenly the kids are awake, confused, and possibly learning words they shouldn't. But if we're talking about footy in the wild, at a pub or with mates, then absolutely a good beer fuels the atmosphere and unlocks a whole new level of passion. It's the perfect sidekick for screaming at the umpire, celebrating the wins and processing the losses. So beer and footy, a dangerous duo in the house, but an elite combo in the right setting. Skeeter, Emily wins.
Emily, I'm
Emily wins.
I'm not sure who won the US Open this morning at Oakford or wherever it's called. But I think Emily is our clubhouse leader, and I think she wins comfortably.
There we go. Emily, you are the winner. Well done. Beautifully said. That is why the footy is better with a shelter lager. Next week we'll be doing the hazy. Skeeter won't know what's hit him. I can't wait to smack him in the mouth with a hazy. Going to whip through these for you, Skeeter. Well done, Emily. We'll get your details. While we're there, Skeet, 6 from 7 from me in the tipping. I will get the winner of the tipping as we go through this. But I am currently coming, Skeeter. Ready? I am coming. I don't know. I'll find out.
You know we're near it.
Western Bulldogs 132 defeated St Kilda 60 Thursday night in an absolute bloodbath, Skeeter.
Yeah, the Bulldogs have got the Saints as their bunnies and nothing changed. And Ross Lyon, the most entertaining part of his chat afterwards about debating the Thursday night crowd. So
what was he on about there?
Oh, he got asked the question. I thought he was actually pretty good, his press conference. He spoke, he was honest about where the list is at. Are they anywhere near it? I don't think so. It's Ross knows there's a fair way ahead for the Saints, but the Dogs, very impressive, and Sam Darcy, goes without saying, having him back in the side, kicking 3 goals, really important. The coach, Bevo, was just alluding to the fact that he's the treatment he gets from defenders and opposition players needs to be monitored, in a none too subtle way. But yeah, this Bulldog side, I don't think they can win the flag without Sam Darcy, with him. What
about you, with Hagen and Sam Darcy?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and that again is up to the playing group. Right, they have got a lot of the pieces in place. What I do see is that they are very good at really dominating teams that are sort of 10th and below. They can really make a mess of them. And that's good point. The top sides, they've been competitive against Geelong, etc. But yeah, the jury's out. They're a top 8 side. Very good performance on Thursday night. And let's be honest, they've got bigger fish to fry coming up.
Let me tell you, Skeeter, I am 208th, so that's $2,080 down at the moment, Skeet. And Corey D took out this week's competition for a carton of shelter Greek yogurts, but spelt Y-E-O Gertz. Very good.
So when he took it out, so he got 7, did he? Yeah,
so I almost won the weekly prize.
Yeah, but he did, he almost asked you way to it, but anyway.
So there we go. Sam Darcy, just a weapon, isn't he? Like 19 touches, 7 marks, 3 goals, 2 behinds in his return.
And is Matt Kennedy one of the best recruits of the year? 29 disposals, 2 goals.
Him and Smith. At least the Bulldogs got one back.
Well, but to be honest with you, I suppose you're right. The Bulldogs let him go, and we're happy to see him go. And the same with the Blues with Kennedy.
Yeah.
But everyone was expecting. I mean, Bailey Smith, the reputation of him is, we know. But Matt Kennedy, for what he's done, just adds some more depth to that midfield. And he's been terrific.
Yep. That's why I reckon Jamara might be back.
Well, so imagine, will it work with him? Norton kicked 3 and still he really benefited, by the way, from Darcy returning. Just gave him a bit of a chop out, and Darcy,
you'd be fine.
You'd rather have the 3 than 1 or 2, wouldn't you?
You'll be just fine. Hawthorn defeated Adelaide 46-43 in a dour affair, not under the lid in Launceston. Third game in a row in Launceston between these two sides, decided by 3 points. So they've done some tight battles down here. Both sides will look back on this one and think they could have won it. I want to know whether having a roof would make a difference. Like, now you're the weatherman here. You're very interested in the goings on with temperature and wind, and you know what's happening.
Well, I just have a look at the forecast. That's what I do.
All states, What's a famous weatherman? Is there a famous someone who used to do the weather for 80 years?
Well, Jeff Newman used to do a lot.
Jeff Newman, right? A bit of a Jeff Newman operator, right? So, can you tell me if there is a roof?
Yes.
Is there going to be dew on the ground or not? Because it wasn't raining, but it was wet.
Yeah, I think
so. That's a serious question.
I think the roof would alleviate that to some degree.
It's the temperature's still the same. They don't turn the heaters on.
Well, there's an atmospheric heating system that is in these. And Marvel Stadium has it. And if you've been,
let me tell you, Marvel Stadium gets dewy.
It does get dewy, but when the roof is open on a night like, say, if it's really cold or damp, then you're going to get the dew factor.
So how does the dew happen?
The dew happens because the atmospherics become consistent with the temperature dropping. Or indeed, conversely, if it's in the northern climates where the humidity is a factor, it condenses the moisture to become a surface layer dew.
Stuart Dew.
I've no idea.
I'll tell you, right. We clipped that up. That'll be on our socials. That's so good. Yeah, so I don't know if it makes that much of a difference having a roof, to be honest.
I think it'd be handy. I do think it is for spectators. I mean, in the middle of winter, so we've played one game on a Friday night.
Yep.
The next 6 or 7 or 8 Saturday, Friday nights in Lonnie or Hobart are going to be pretty average, I would have thought. So I think I do understand the need for it. And let's be honest, as we said with Optus Stadium, build it, they will come. I think in 10 years, say they have it built, in 15 years from now, they go, what the hell were we arguing about?
Yeah, correct. Exactly as the same over here. The big combo was held to 0-9. Walker, Thilthorpe, Fogarty, Rochelle. Not really a day for forwards, though.
No, but you got to say Adelaide kicked themselves out of the game, or they should have had that game in a low-scoring match, done and dusted. So despite losing, I think Adelaide still takes a bit out of it. And Hawthorn, they generally get the job done down there in Tassie.
GWS 107 defeated Brisbane 96 at the Gabba. Did you see any of this?
I didn't, but I had a little investment on the Giants. They had they were 27 points head start.
Yeah. Who? Giants?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that sort of makes sense, what they did the week before.
No, but
Port Adelaide.
My concern was that Brisbane haven't been able to really click into gear this year. And they lose, importantly, their big forward Payne for the rest of the season with Patella.
Backman. Don't wash your mouth out. Jack,
What do I call him?
big forward.
I don't call him big forward. Payne, the big defender.
Jack
Yeah, well,
Payne, he's one of the dourest defenders.
he's dour. So that was a big loss for him.
Patella tendon.
Yeah,
That's almost nastier than ACL.
And you speak of goal front accuracy, the Giants kicked 8 straight.
Yeah, and it was 22 scoring shots to 31.
Yeah. So the lines have been inaccurate. And I've got to say this, they've got a pretty tough run coming up, and to finish top Brisbane. 4, Brisbane got a tough run. I'm not so certain about them anymore. And just that little percentage, after you win a flag, you can speak to it. Collingwood could do that, and Geelong have done it as well. They'll play finals, but I just think they're a step or two off it.
Yeah. If they're a good enough side that when finals comes around, they'll just turn it on, and then we'll see the best of Brisbane. I won't write them off.
No, not so. But there were some concerns there, and they were.
Aaron Cadman took the game apart. 13 marks, 5 goals. That's his best display at AFL level. As a number 1 pick that effectively was involved in the Jason Horne-Francis deal. So North Melbourne traded it away for Sheasel and Wardlaw, and GWS took Cadman. I wonder how they look back on that now with that.
No, Cadman, you can see he's got all the tools. But having said that, the Giants really generated a lot of their scoring from their back half. They scored 11 goals from their defensive half change, which is you think of their defensive half, and in the end they kicked 9 goals to 4 after half time, and they just ran all over Brisbane, which is and they did win a game up there late last year as well. I think they won at the Gabba, so they've had some really big wins. Geelong, they've won. Brisbane, and then they've dropped games inexplicably that they shouldn't have, and they're still in that finals equation.
I'm not giving this any time of day. Geelong 151 defeated Essendon 56. I'm seriously not. That's just uncompetitive Essendon. It's just garbage. Max Holmes 36, Bailey Smith.
So he got 41. So Brownlow-wise, Bailey Smith probably racks up at least 2, maybe 3 Max Holmes.
Cameron kicked 6.
Cameron kicked 6. He had 4 or 5 in the first half. And, the Bombers
They continue to be nowhere, like their football club.
They do have a lot of injuries, but you're right. There's some real issues for them in terms of the quality, and up against a Geelong side that really, I mean, they are now, I'd suggest, second favourites to win the flag.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Port Adelaide 93 defeated Melbourne 68. Mitch Georgiadis kicked 7 goals for. I saw none of this, Skeets, so I won't give this much either. Jason Horne-Francis came back. I did see his first quarter. He had like 3 behinds and 12 touches in the first quarter.
But he looked good. I watched a bit of this 7-4 from Georgiadis, so he could have he missed a couple of easy set shots as well. And, the West Aussie who has been really their key forward now that Dixon's gone. He's their go-to man. Rosie, classy, 32. Horne-Francis did injure himself, did he? I didn't see that late in the piece. Maybe it was. 1 goal, 3, 29 touches, but it's got him being injured.
Port Adelaide, I don't know. Port Adelaide moved to 10th. This is from Isaac. And a 6 and 7. They have Sydney, Carlton and West Coast all at home in the next 4 weeks. Can they make a challenge for...
The 8?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they're there in that space, to be totally honest. But you know what they're doing? They're flying the flag for Ken, and that's something I didn't think they'd be doing this stage, because they're a bit like Sydney. They've fallen off the cliff in the sense of they're not winning the flag this year. It's pretty hard, and I think you'd agree, to to keep doing the hard yards when you know you've got a new coach coming in, you can't win the flag, you've been a September contender for so many years, and now if you're going to make the 8, you're going to be just making up the numbers.
We'll see. Collingwood, Gold Coast, Sydney, Richmond have the bye. Skeeter, let's get into some questions and comments from our friends, and then you can get out the door, Skeeter. Skeeter, oh my God, just cut the garbage. YouTube, Skeeter, we love you. We know that your whole life has led up to this moment of glory on the Shelter FootyCast. We love you, Skeet. Who's
that from?
It's from YouTube. Someone on YouTube who says they love you.
But this
it's
is
not sarcastic.
No, but I'm a bit concerned that my whole life has led up to working on this show. Seriously?
Mate.
I'll send you the invoice and I'll tell you how much I'm worth on this show every day. It's not that much.
I can send you other invoices as well.
Hey?
I'm surprised you don't employ a full-time invoicer. Someone just sending invoices all day long.
I'm forgetting a lot of invoices. I don't know where they're going, but I need to get my spreadsheet back up.
Life by Noxie says, what we say today, this is your quote from last week.
Okay.
What we say today is rubbish tomorrow. Great new tagline for the show so people don't get offended.
I came up with it, but you said it's a good tagline.
I think it's good. Yeah.
It's probably true.
If I don't understand what this is. It's from B-Dub. If Schofield is the Paul Hogan, because you call me Paul Hogan.
Well, he's a funny man. Surely you've heard of Paul Hogan.
Then Mark Reddings is Strop. The classic Aussie sidekick. Who's Strop?
Well, Strop was a bloke. He had had the lifeguard hat on. He was not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I think he was married to Delvine Delaney. Just look up Delvine Delaney. And
so this is Strop.
That's Strop.
So Paul, okay, for anyone who doesn't know, like me, Paul Hogan's this handsome-looking, tanned, nice hair,
rooster.
And Strop is this just numpty next
had
to
the lifeguard sort of hat on.
So who is this?
Skull cap.
Is this?
And Delvine Delaney is that she was the sidekick who was the two of them were together. Yes.
So you are happy that there we go.
That's very quick.
Just leave. If you're watching on YouTube, I mean, that is genuinely Schoey and
you think that's you?
That is me. I've just
what a fig jam.
Oh, so what? That's you, is it?
You think that's me, do you?
Yes. You think that's you?
No, but I can't be that. I mean, anyway, Strop made a lot of money out of idiots like you, so it was good.
Yeah. So he's the manager, is he?
He was the guy that the brains behind it all.
So he's the yeah. See, that's you. The Brains Trust. All right, Skeet, we are done, mate. Get you out the door. Shelter FootyCast. FootyCast at backchatstudios.com.au. If you want to send us an email, we'll get the prizes out. Skeet, finish us off somehow. Strop, I should say. Strop, finish us off.
Well, I gave you a pocket square yesterday. Where is it? You left it alone.
There you go, mate. There you go, buddy.
I'm blowing my nose on. There you go.
See you.